morning, class. I am Teacher Christine, your teacher for today's lesson. So, in our previous lesson, you have learned some helpful tools that aid us in understanding the meaning of words. Okay, so what resources did we use in finding the meaning of words? We have the dictionary. Okay, what else? We also have the thesaurus and of course, the online sources. Okay, so today class, we will talk about noting significant details. So, at the end of this lesson, you are expected to note significant details portrayed in the selections or passages. We will start this lesson with a simple activity. So you're going to read and examine the selection below. So this is entitled Achu. Okay? Say Achu. Okay. This is written by Cynthia Sherwood. Okay, so let's read it. We all sneeze sometimes. Sneezing is a reflex that your body does automatically. That means you cannot make yourself sneeze or stop once it has started. When you sneeze, your body is trying to get rid of bad things in your nose such as bacteria. So you have extra germs that when you have a cold, you sneeze a lot more. You might also sneeze when you smell pepper. So inside your nose, there are hundreds of tiny hairs. These hairs filter the air that you breathe. Sometimes dust and pollen find their way through these hairs and bother your nasal passages. The nerves in the lining of your nose tell your brain that something is invading your body. Your brain, lungs, nose, mouth, and the muscles of your upper body work together to blow away the invaders with a sneeze. So when you sneeze, germs from your nose get blown into the air. So using a tissue or sneezing into your sleeve captures most of these germs. So it is very important to wash your hands after you sneeze into them, especially during cold, flu season. So do you ever sneeze when you walk into the bright sunlight? About 25% of the people experience this phenomenon. Scientists believe that the brain gets confused when signals from the optic nerve trigger the sneezing reflex in the direct sunlight. So this usually runs in families if someone nearby sneezes. So remember to tell them Gesundheit. This is a funny looking word which is pronounced Gesundheit. Is the German word that wishes someone good health after sneezing. Okay? So did you understand the passage? Okay, so this time, let us have the following. You're going to note the details by answering the questions below. Okay, so the first question is, which part of your body work together when you sneeze? According to the passage, we have, yes, your brain, your lungs, nose, mouth, and the muscles of your upper body work together. Okay? What about number 2? What does the German word Gesundheit mean? It means, I wish you good health. Very good. And number 3, why do some people sneeze when they walk into the bright sunlight? They sneeze because the brain gets confused when signals from the optic nerve trigger the sneezing reflex in direct sunlight. Okay, so that's it. So, our next activity is this one. I have here a picture. Have you seen this wonderful creature? What is this? Okay, so this is an owl. How do you describe an owl according to the picture? An owl is a bird with a flat face. Yes. It also has large eyes and a small, sharp beak. How do you think owls obtain their food? So according to my research, most owls obtain their food by hunting small animals at night. So these are nocturnal animals. Pag sinabi nating nocturnal animals, they are active at night and sleep during the day. So today kids will have another learning task. This is learning task number 2. So what are you going to do? You're just going to read the selection and find out more details about this wonderful creature. Then you're going to choose the letters of the correct answers for the questions I will flash after reading the paragraph. Okay, so let's have it. My name is Jerry. I am an owl. Have you heard an owl hoot before? I have a big face and large eyes. I have strong legs and sharp claws called talons. I have big wings and soft feathers. I have big wings and soft feathers. I sleep during the day and hunt for food at night. I like to catch rats. I can see and hear things that are very far away. I have very special feathers that allow me to fly without making a sound. Did you know that a baby owl is called an owlet? My home is a nest in a tree. How about you? Where do you live? Okay, I hope you got the story. Now, we're going to answer some questions about the paragraph we have just read. Okay, so let's have number 1. Who is Jerry? A. An owl, B. A robin, C. An eagle, or D. A sparrow? So, Jerry is an owl. Okay, number 2. What are his claws called? A. Toes, B. Nails, C. Talons, or D. Fingers? We call it talons. Very good. So what does Jerry like to catch? Hams and sandwiches, B. Fish and chips, C. Pizza, or D. Rats? The answer is rats, of course. And number 4, what is a baby owl called? A. Hen, B. An owlet, C. Calf, or D. Piglet? The answer is letter B. An owlet. Number 5. What does Jerry do during daytime? A. He sleeps, B. He hoots loudly, C. He hunts for food, and D. He cleans his feather. The answer is letter A, because an owl is a nocturnal animal. He sleeps during the day. Okay, number 6. Why are Jerry's feathers special? A. They don't make a sound. B. They are shiny. C. They are soft. Or letter D. They are heavy. The answer is letter A. They don't make a sound. So, what did you notice with the answers of the questions we have in this paragraph, kids? Ano yung napansin ninyo sa mga sagot? Are the answers explicitly stated in the paragraph? Nababasa ba yung mga sagot doon sa paragraph na binasa natin kanina? Yes, we can easily locate the answers in the paragraph. Okay, so at this juncture, we'll move on to the next selection. So this is learning task number 3. So, this is Jessa, the girl in the picture. She will share with you why she is proud of her family. So, are you also proud of your family? Pag sinabi nating family, kids, this is a group of 1 or more parents and their children living together as a unit. So, we're going to read the lesson below and then answer the questions on the next page later. Okay? So, you may write your answers in your notebook. Okay, here we go. Hi, my name is Jessa. I'm 10 years old and I live in a small house in Santo Angel. I have a wonderful family whom I love very much. there are 6 members of my family. So my grandparents, my parents, I, and my brother. My grandfather is a very wise man who gives us great advice in every situation. My grandmother is a talented cook and a kind woman. My father is a farmer who has fed a lot of people in our barangay. My mother is a vegetable seller. She is always there for us and I am grateful to her for this. My brother Tristan is 6 years old and we get along very well. This is my family and I am proud of them. So, are you also proud of your family? What makes you proud of your family? I, for one, is very proud of my family because I have someone to love me unconditionally in spite of my shortcomings. So, does your family love you too? Does your family support you? Do your other family members care for you? Do they provide you security or a sense of belongingness? If yes, then you are blessed. Okay? Now, let's have the comprehension check-up. So, how old is Jessa in the paragraph? Jessa is, yes, she is 10 years old. Very good. Okay, so how many members are there in her family? Okay, so there are 6 members in her family. Her grandfather, her grandmother, her parents, her father and mother, Jessa, and then her brother, Tristan. Where does Jessa live? Jessa lives in Santo Angel. So what job does Jessa's father have? Her father is a farmer. Okay. Is Jessa's mother a teacher? No, her mother is a vegetable seller. How many brothers does Jessa got? He has only one brother. Yes, that's it. Is Tristan older than Jessa? No, because Tristan is just 6 while Jessa is 10. Who gives great advice in the family? Her grandfather. Very good. What kind of a girl do you think is Jessa? According to the story, I think Jessa is a kind girl. That is because she gets to appreciate each of her family members and she's grateful of everything her family does. Okay? And number 10, why do you think Jessa is proud of her family? That is because they get along well. Okay? So, you observe the comprehension questions. What did you notice with the questions number 1 to 8? Where can we find the answers? Saan natin makikita yung sagot sa number 1 to 8? Are the answers explicitly stated in the text? Yes, kitang-kita yung sagot. The answers were explicitly stated in the paragraph. What about 9 and 10? And answers for number 9 and 10 were not explicitly stated in the text. Hence, it asked you to think of an answer based on the details we have in the text. Okay? So, details class are small pieces of information that support the main idea. So, they tell something about people, events, things, time, objects, circumstances, situations, and manner. So, today, because we're talking about details, let's have this one. We have actually 2 types of details. We have the implicit and explicit detail. So, when we say implicit details, these are details that used to describe or define a general state. So, these are the details that we can't really see. Hindi natin to nakikita sa isang paragraph o sa isang text. These are the details that are implied but not easily expressed. So, kapag sinabi nating implicit, it is not expressly stated but the reader understand it anyway through other clues in the text. So maiintindihan mo na yun yung sinasabi base dun sa mga ibinigay na clues doon sa text. So details are not boldly stated in the paragraph. Hindi natin makikita yung mga yun, pero maiintindihan na yun na nga yung nangyayari. So, let's have this example. The trees were swaying wildly outside Maria's window as she prepared for bed and the gutters were overflowing. So, what does this sentence imply? Ano ang ibig sabihin nito? The words that trees were swaying wildly. What does this mean? Ito ay nagpapahiwatig na masama ang panahon. That it is stormy outside. Okay? The reader can infer that it is probably dark, stormy, and the situation happened at night, even though these facts are not explicitly stated. So that is what we call implicit details. You really cannot see the details in the text, but based on the clues provided, you could probably say that this is what is happening. Okay? Let's move on to the opposite of implicit details, which is explicit details. So what is an explicit detail? So when we say explicit, this means clear and fully expressed. So explicit details are specific details that we can see and are measurable. So these details are clearly stated. So pag sinabi nating explicit, there is no question as to what it means. There is no hidden connotation and no room for misunderstanding. So if a fact is explicit in reading comprehension passage, it is stated outright. So for example, if the first sentence of a story is, it was a dark and stormy night. So that is an explicit fact. There is no room for debate. The reader cannot be confused and think that the story is set on a sunny morning. Unlike our example in the implicit details. Diba? So you have to check what the words in the paragraph or in the sentence mean. The trees are wildly swaying outside. So, iisipin mo, anong nangyayari? So, it was not explicitly stated. Unlike this one, it was expressed fully. It was a dark and stormy night. So, that's it. Okay. In a paragraph, which is easier to spot? Is it explicit or implicit? Yes, explicit facts are easier to spot than implicit facts and are therefore easier to test. So, common comprehension question kids for explicit facts include the basic who, what, when, and where of the story, and often how and sometimes the why. So, questions about why things happen in the stories though are often implicit comprehension questions. Kasi isipin mo kung anong sagot dun eh. You're going to think critically. Okay? Especially in more adult reading. So, authors are less likely to explicitly state why characters are doing things and more likely to allow readers to figure that out based on other information in the book. So, any question that asks students to draw conclusions is testing your implicit comprehension. So, noting details is very important. Kaya napaka-importante na mag-note ng details because this is a reading comprehension that involves picking out from a piece of text information to achieve a given purpose. So, these details are the ones that good readers notice and authors use to emphasize the events, characters, and other details in the text. So, noting details is very important. Napaka-importante nito. It is because when you note detail, become able to perform more difficult comprehension skills like summarizing and synthesizing. So, how do we note details? Paano nga tayo nag-note ng details? So, number 1 is that always read the story with full understanding and internalize the lines printed. That's number 1. Number 2, you have to jot down notes or highlight text. You will know that you're doing the right thing when the things you've taken down describes the main idea and the supporting details. Now, let's have the basic types of text. Number 1 is informational or factual text. So, what is the purpose of informational or factual text? So, informational or factual text informs, instructs, or persuades reader by giving facts and information. So, its purpose is to describe a place or thing using facts. So, it retells events which may have already happened in time order. It classifies, describes, and gives factual information about people, animals, and things or phenomena. It also gives instructions on how to make or do something. So, we learn something every day by reading. Okay? So, especially nowadays, we are so much focused on our gadgets. Whether we know it or not, we learn through various reading sources like social media, smartphone applications, and newspapers. So these texts are informative because they build upon our prior knowledge or feed us with information we do not know. So this is one of the most popular types of writing and it is known as informational text. So, sa informational text, the main purpose really is to inform readers about the subject. So, if a text's primary aim is to inform readers, it must contain facts. Dapat mayroong facts, descriptions, instructions, although it may also include opinions and arguments. So, it has the intention of informing the reader about a specific topic. Okay? Okay, so let's move on. So number 2, we have literary text. So what is a literary text? So when we say literary text, this entertains or elicits emotional response by using language to create mental images. So literary text purpose are to describe people's characters, places, events, and things in an imaginative way. So it retells events from novels, plays, films, and other personal experiences to entertain others. So sa literary text, the author has the complete freedom to write as he pleases. So yung purpose of this content is to capture the reader's attention. A literary text does not have to stick to reality, usually based on fictional worlds, telling imaginary events, ideas, and arguments. Yun. So, that is the difference. Unlike for informative text or informational text, it sticks to reality. It sticks to facts. Okay? Okay, so let's go back to the passages we have read for LT1, Learning Task 1 to Learning Task 3. So let's check what type of passage are these. This one, the Achu by Cynthia Sherwood. What type of text is this? This is an example of, yes, informational or factual text. Why? It's because it informs the reader about sneezing. What about this one? Hi, my name is Jessica. I'm 10 years old. So this is a literary text. Let's have learning task number 4. So for this task, you're going to read the selection and then note the details by answering the questions that follow. Okay? So let's do it. Uwang in Salagubang. Uwang, rhinoceros beetle in English, is one of the few beetles called by name in the Philippines. Other beetles are referred to as salagubang, the generic Tagalog word for beetle. Although we can see various pictures of rhinoceros beetle online, nothing can compare to seeing one up close and personal. From experience, I can tell you that if one gets on your clothing, it's really impossible to get it off easily. So the variety found in the Philippines is the Asiatic rhinoceros beetle. They may seem formidable and vicious, but appearance can be deceiving. They have sharp claws, and those claws can only hurt if you get pinched by them. Other than that, they are practically harmless. They also have horns, and there is a difference in length depending on whether it's a male or female. So from what I understand, it's the strongest insect in the world. I'm not willing to test the assertion. Okay, so that's it. So this time, let's have the comprehension check up. So number 1 is, what are the names of the 2 types of beetles which are found in the Philippines? So, we have uwang and salagubang. Okay, number 2. What variety of beetles do those 2 types come from? We have Asiatic rhinoceros beetle. And number 3, how did the author describe the claws of uwang and salagubang? How is it being described? They have sharp claws. Okay? Do you think you will be hurt once you see an uwang or salagubang? The answer is no. It's because you can only be hurt if you get pinched by them. And the last one is, what do you think is the purpose of the selection? The purpose is to educate or to inform others. So that's it. Thank you, kids. I hope you got the correct answers in this learning task. At this moment, we'll have another selection to read, and the title is Walking on the Moon. So, are you ready to listen? Let's do it. When I was in grade 3, I got to take a trip to the moon. I remember the day like it was yesterday. It was one of the strangest experiences I had ever had. It all started when Miss Reyes, our grade 3 science teacher, was showing a video about different planets in the solar system. Halfway through the video, I noticed a sparkling metal disc about the size of a peso coin lying on the floor. I kept trying to pay attention to the video but found myself bending over to pick up the shiny disc that was next to my desk. As soon as I touched the metal disc, something strange happened. I wasn't in the classroom anymore. I was hovering in the air, way above the school. I could see the whole, or rather the rooftops of the whole city. I was a little nervous but also pretty excited. What was happening? How could I be floating? It was then when I remembered the metal disc I'd picked up from the floor earlier. Did it have something to do with the strange things that were happening to me right now? I opened my palm and looked closely at the disc. On the disc were these words, floating through the air like a helium-filled balloon. Your travels will not stop until you reach the moon. The next thing I knew, I was soaring through space, dodging satellites and asteroids. Oddly enough, I wasn't cold and I was able to breathe just fine. Before I knew it, I was standing on the moon. It was amazing. It looked very different from the Earth. No trees, water, nor houses. There wasn't even any wind. For each step I took, I would bounce way up into the air. Every step took left a huge footprint in the dust. I had to be careful and make sure. I didn't jump into a crater because I wasn't sure if I'd be able to get out. Sometimes, I couldn't even see the bottom. I was bounding over to something in the distance that looked very out of the place. When I got there, I realized it was a flag. On the flag were the words, "To go to Earth, close your eyes and think of what you've learned. You will find in no time at all, you will be returned." I wasn't sure if I wanted to go back just yet, but I knew it might be dark soon and I didn't want to be on the moon by myself in the dark. I decided to close my eyes and think of the weather and the other characteristics of the moon I'd learned that day. When I opened my eyes, I was sitting on my seat in my science classroom. Miss Reyes was turning on the lights because the video was over. I sat there wondering about what just happened. I opened my hand to look at the metal disc, but it was gone. Did I really take a trip to the moon, or it was just a dream? Okay, so is the story interesting, kids? How did you find it? Okay, so at this moment, let us have the comprehension check up. So, you're just going to write the letter of your answers here. Now, number 1 is, where is the setting of the story? Where's the setting? The setting is in the science classroom. It's letter D. Number 2, in the sentence, I was hovering in the air way above the school. What does the word hovering mean? So, hovering means floating. Letter A. Number 3, why are the words floating through the air like a helium-filled balloon? Your travels will not stop until you reach the moon, written in italics. A. The teacher thinks they are important. B. They are words the student says. C. They are words from the video. Or letter D. The words on the disc are important. So the answer is letter D. Okay, number 4. In which sentence does the word bound have the same meaning as the sentence, I was bounding over to something in the distance? A. The sticks were bound in a bundle. B. The rabbit will bound through the field. C. My book was bound at the printers. And letter D. There is a bound to be change of plans. The answer is letter B. The rabbit will bound through the field. Okay, so let's have number 5 to 7. Number 5. Why does the main character do not know if the trip really happened? A. That is because the main character was sitting in a desk when the video ended. B. The metal disc was gone and the main character did not have any proof. C. The main character had difficulty remembering the order of events. And letter D. The solar system video is still being shown. So the answer is letter B. The metal disc was gone and the main character did not have any proof. Okay, number 6. Which event happened first in the story? A. The main character is hovering above the town. B. The main character reads the word on the disc. C. The main character picks up a sparkling metal disc. And letter D. The main character is sitting at a desk. The answer is letter D. Of course, he was sitting in a desk. He started there sitting while watching the video and he ended there sitting when the video was done. Okay. And number 7. What would be another title for the story? A. The Great Class Field Trip. B. The Living Room. C. The Magic Metal Disc. And letter D. The Solar System. So the answer is letter C. The Magic Metal Disc. Okay? I hope you guys got the correct answers for this comprehension checkup. Okay, before we'll have the next activity, how do we call the small pieces of information that support the main idea? We have the details. So, that's what we call details. Next is, what are the two types of details? We have the implicit and explicit. So, how do we differentiate implicit from explicit details? Okay, so when we say implicit details, these are details that are implied but are not easily expressed, while explicit details are the details that are clearly stated. And the last question is, what are the basic types of text? We have informational text and literary text. So, let's move on to the last learning task. We have learning task number 6. For this learning task, you're going to read first the selection and then later on, you have to answer the comprehension check up. Okay, so let's do it. Why does ocean have waves? The ocean is never still. Whether observing from the beach or a boat, we expect to see waves on the horizon. Waves are created by energy passing through water, causing it to move in a circular motion. However, water doesn't actually travel in waves. Waves transmit energy, not water, across the ocean, and if not obstructed by anything, they have the potential to travel across an entire ocean basin. Waves are most commonly caused by wind. Wind-driven waves or surface waves created by the friction between wind and surface water. As wind blows across the surface of the ocean or a lake, the continual disturbance creates a wave crest. So these types of waves are found globally across the open ocean and along the coasts. More potentially, hazardous waves can be caused by severe weather like hurricane. So, the strong winds and pressure from this type of severe storm causes storm surge, a series of long waves that are created far from shore in deep water and intensify as they move closer to land. Other hazardous waves can be caused by underwater disturbances that displace large amount of water quickly, such as earthquakes, landslides, or volcanic eruptions. So these very long waves are called tsunamis. Storm surge and tsunamis are not the only type of waves you imagine crashing down on the shore. So these waves roll upon the shore like a massive sea level rise and can reach far distances inland. The gravitational pull of the sun and the moon on Earth also causes waves. These waves are tides, or in other words, tidal waves. There is a common misconception that a tidal wave is also a tsunami. The cause of tsunamis are not related to tide information at all but can occur in any tidal state. Okay, I hope you were able to grasp what the paragraph means. Okay, so let's have the comprehension check-up. Number 1 question is, what create waves according to the paragraph? The answer is, waves are created by energy passing through water. Okay, next, number 2. What could be an obstruction to waves? The answer is, a surf break such as coral reef, shoal, rock, or headland that causes a wave to break, forming a barreling wave or other wave that can be surfed before it eventually collapses. Number 3. Why do you think the wind is the most common cause of wave creation? The answer is because this is found globally across the open ocean and along the coasts. Okay? And number 4, what are some causes of hazardous waves? We have this one. Hazardous waves can be caused by severe weather like hurricane and underwater disturbances like earthquakes, landslides, or volcanic eruption. And number 5, what is another name for a very long wave? We call it tsunami. Okay, so it is called tsunami. So I hope you kids were able to get our topic today, which is noting details. So see you again next week for another lesson. Bye!